Sorry, it's still loading, even though it says it is streaming, it's still loading on my end. So a few more seconds. Okay. Gonna turn it back over to you, Commissioner Jones. Make host. Okay. Thank you everyone again for joining us this evening for our special meeting, particularly focused on one item on our financial reports. I am calling this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Handerhan?
Present.
Commissioner Holohan? Does not seem to be present. Commissioner Sycamore?
Here.
Commissioner Lakatos?
Present.
Commissioner Kensick?
Present.
Commissioner Johnson does not seem to be present. Commissioner Fields?
Present.
Commissioner Harris?
Present.
And Commissioner Jones present. Madam Chair, with 7 out of 9 commissioners present, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, you have an agenda before you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. So I will turn it over to Commissioner Lakatos to review the financial reports before us.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Harris. So the 3 quarterly financial reports that we're going to be voting on this evening are for quarter 3 of fiscal year 2022, quarter 4 of fiscal year 2022, and quarter 1 of fiscal year 2023. So 2 of these, well, all 3 were for financial transactions that took place during the last commission, but we're nearing our last date before our allotment would be revoked. And so I'm going to start with the first QFR, so going in chronological order, which would be the quarter 3 of FY 2022. Commissioner Jones, I believe I should be able to share my screen, so I'm going to try and put that up. Give me one moment, and then I'll read it out, and if anyone has any questions specifically on that, I'm more than willing to entertain those. Commissioner Jones, you have disabled screen sharing.
Give me one moment, I apologize.
No worries, thank you so much.
Try now, Commissioner.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, that worked.
All right, thank you so much. So as you can see in this quarterly financial report, the total funds available were $171,377.05. The ANC had $1,050 in expenses, and ended with a balance of $170,377.05. You've all seen this. I circulated these before. These were the 2 payments for the security fund and 1 which was a sponsorship for the funk parade. All these expenses were approved by the ANC, is my understanding. But the specific QFR was not read out as required and voted on by the ANC, which is why we are here. Does anyone have any specific questions about this quarterly financial report?
Can you please just go down again really quick?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
No
No
problem.
questions.
That being said, does anyone have, I would motion that the ANC approve the quarter 3 fiscal year 2022 QFR.
Second.
Do we have a second?
I think Commissioner
Second.
Kensick, I think it was Commissioner Kensick.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the Q4 fiscal year 2022 quarterly financial report. So that quarter we began with a balance of $170,377.05. During this quarter, there was $2,318 in expenses, and we ended with a balance of $168,059.05. So there were two sponsorships, Guns Ward 1 Resource Fair, the Hoops for All Foundation, as well as a payment to a former commissioner who paid for the subscription for our Squarespace account, which pays for our website, and a stop payment charge with Industrial Bank. Does anyone have any specific questions about this QFR?
Sorry, do you mind explaining what a stop payment charge is?
That is for stopping payment on any sort of check or payment. It's on whatever the payment was. It didn't go through, but it's sort of a bank fee is what it's categorized under.
Is that something we can get waived? Like probably a simple call.
I spoke with Industrial about these. I think it was the information I got from the manager was they weren't really willing to extend that courtesy, considering how far back it went.
It's in my wheelhouse, so I kindly ask you just to send me the information. I'll call and I'll make sure we get that money back. I can take care of it.
Definitely, let's talk about that. I'm more than willing to talk about that afterwards, Commissioner.
Cool.
Cool. But, does anyone have any other additional questions about this quarter? Commissioner Sycamore.
Just a quick question on both this one and the previous one, if that's all right.
Sure.
Why were these not taken care of by the previous commission? I know we explained it on email, but I just want to put it in for the record why these were not taken care of by the previous commission.
I wasn't on the previous commission, so I cannot say why they did not vote specifically on it. That's really, unfortunately, the only answer I have. But I can say is that all of the money is accounted for. So I understand this is an administrative, oversight that's causing us to have this hearing. I'll also add that as a part of what I'm working on as treasurer is creating sort of a living record of the duties of treasurer and sort of all these specific responsibilities. So this can live on with whoever becomes treasurer after, I'm no longer on the ANC and whatever that is. And so to prevent this from ever happening again.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And do any of the previous commissioners who were on the previous commission have any insight?
Sure. So I think it was simply just as I think we stated over email, it was an oversight. I think these charges, one, were all discussed and previously approved, whether it was approving kind of the website expenses at one point, and then reimbursing former Commissioner Danny Delaney, whose card was on this, which also leads back to the issue of ANCs not being granted debit cards until very recently. So it just was a matter of oversight that this wasn't voted on. And I think the best way is to move forward, which is what we're trying to do today. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I know it's kind of vague, but it's simply, it was an oversight.
All right, thank you.
I can also just add, because I do think it's a totally fair question for the new commissioners to be like, why are we cleaning up this mess? I think there's like so many things to learn in these jobs, and I'll be perfectly candid that I took my responsibility as commissioner very seriously around like what we're able to spend money on. That's where I was focused on these pieces. And then there was a lot of debate about making sure that these reports were posted. I was not tracking the difference between posting and voting on the items and voting on the QFR itself. And so this was like a learning experience for me. When you kind of show up to these meetings every month, I think it's incumbent on all of us to be better than I was last time, knowing about, that our responsibilities are myriad in this space. And I do appreciate Commissioner Lactos kind of committing to making sure that we're kind of guided through the treasurer in this area, but for me, it was just, not totally understanding the process, to be honest.
Well,
Yeah, and I
thank
think
you
the
all
other,
commissioners for taking that up. I appreciate it. For all
I
your hard
think,
work.
I think the other note too is that, and so I know previous to this, we did share out with the public what was posted on the ANC's website. There was an error on that end too, not from there was an error on our end, which is what we're trying to fix today. But they shouldn't have posted it. So we weren't notified until kind of now that we are risking our allotment and our access to be able to spend our funds. So I know that there was issue with that, and so I wanted to call that out as well too.
Yeah, and also as being here last term, I simply said I think that there's going to always be some things that we might overlook, and I think this was just one of those steps that were overlooked, and we're fixing it now.
Great. Thank you all for your hard work. I appreciate it.
That being said, thank you, Commissioner Sycamore, for your questions and everyone else for the context and input. I would motion that the ANC approve the, Commissioner Kenzik. I would motion that the ANC adopt the Q4 fiscal year 2022 quarterly financial report as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, let me move to this one, which is the fiscal year 2023 Q1 financial report. This, as you might understand, as I mentioned, I brought this up. Sorry, I read out the report at our last meeting, I believe it was. Yes. I did not realize that we had to vote on it. We had I had my treasurer training subsequent to it, which is why I didn't vote on it then, which was an oversight on my part, which is what we're correcting now. But just to give context, because this one was my responsibility. So in this instance, the ANC started the...
Commissioner, can I say, actually, it's all of our responsibilities as well, now that we all know.
Correct. Thank you, Commissioner Henry. So this was the ANC started with a balance of $168,059.05. We received our district allotment, which was $31,676.60. And we had one sponsorship, which was Common Good City Farm, which I'll go down and show you in a sec, which is $1,000. And we ended the quarter with $198,735.65. And so these are the transactions. Does anyone have any specific questions about this report?
No, I just recall, and I'm sorry, this might have been a report before, that we donated as a commission $250 for returning to citizens. Chair Turner had given the okay to Commissioner Farnan, who I believe printed a check. I didn't see that on any of these, the $250. I think it was called Return to Citizen. It was an event that was held over the summer from Meridian Hill Park. I'm going to say in the middle of July.
I saw that, Commissioner Kenzik, I saw that in the checkbook, but the check had been voided. It had been voided. So I don't, the sponsorship or whatever the grant was didn't go through. So for records purposes, I want to make that clear. But so I don't know necessarily what happened there. But I know that the check was voided and it didn't go through.
Okay.
But I would also add, just as an important note, which is we're going to be coming up with a budget, and when it comes to sponsorships and spending money in the community, that's something that's really important for all of us. And I'm more than happy to take any input about sort of events such as that one you mentioned, which sounds like a very worthwhile cause. But I just wanted to add those sort of a bit of the context, but it did not clear. Does anyone have any additional questions on this specific QFR? That being said, I motion that the ANC adopt the Q1 fiscal year 2023 quarterly financial report as presented.
I second that.
And I need to call for that. Do we have a second?
I second that.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. And apologies, commissioners, I know we want to get through this, but just to make sure that we have an official vote, I do need to make sure that I call for that. I know it's a small thing, but wanted to note that. Didn't want Commissioner Kinsick for you to feel that I was disregarding your prompt response. Okay, are there any further comments or questions, or does anyone in the community have any questions or comments? Commissioner Jones, I did see your hand raised.
Chair Harris, I was just motioning to adjourn, but I see that there is a hand in the audience, so I will rescind that motion.
Don't need to rescind it because you didn't make it. Can you?
If I had made it, I would have rescinded it. We'll keep on going to the counterfactual.
Commissioner Jones, can you allow Ms. Karen Gall to speak?
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you very much for revisiting the vital treasury reports for the commission. So are you all planning to do this particular vote each commission meeting, or are we going to have special votes again? And then also, we weren't able as the audience to see your voting for each one of those items because it was highlighting the report that Commissioner Lakatos was reviewing. I'm just letting you know.
So
The audience,
all of the
we weren't able to see your vote. That's what I meant.
So just for clarification there too, every report passed unanimously. So no one abstained. There was no nays. So I think hopefully that makes it easy. In terms of when we will be voting on these, so we will vote on them before kind of each quarter. We are also, Commissioner Jones is putting this together, but a budget for the year. So then that opens up more transparency in terms of what the ANC is planning to spend on. So we also don't have to vote on, if we need staples or something that is already set aside kind of in the budget. Same thing goes for kind of business cards and whatnot. So we will be presenting that. I'm not sure if it'll be at the next meeting, only because we do have a lot in front of us, the next one. And it's also up to kind of Commissioner Jones, and we are all here to support and help the best ways that we can. So that's a little bit more insight. I think the next report is actually the QFR for Q2 and a Q2, right? Yes, sorry. It's a very different operating system than what I'm used to. It's the federal kind of government and how the fiscal year and whatnot. So Q2 is what we actually will likely vote on next meeting, just to stay kind of in line. And we will not, hopefully, I don't want to say there's no guarantees, but we will vote at the commission meetings and not hold special meetings. The reason why we needed to hold this one was because we were at risk of losing our allotment and losing our ability to buy anything or exercise our funds.
And also, Commissioner Harris, in regards to the allotment per SMD, what's the breakdown? And then also, if community organizations that want to apply for the benefits, what's the where's the information for that, please?
So there's no breakdown for each SMD. That is, there's no budget for each SMD. It's based off of the commission itself. And I can pull that up right now. Apologies that I don't have that. I know that you asked this prior, so hold on. I actually have this right here. So our allotment for 2023 And Commissioner Lakatos, if I am wrong in this, please correct me because this is kind of hard to see. For Q1, we have $9,067.89. Total allotment for the year is $27,191. But that is for the commission itself. That is, no commission should be budgeting out each kind of SMD. We had a prior sponsorship process, and we were credited by the OANC for starting that. But we will kind of be reevaluating our grants. There was a process for that, but I think it's a bit dated. So we will be kind of sharing that very soon. It's just, we're trying to get this in order first.
Thank you very much.
Chair Harris, may I add something to what you just said?
Sure.
So the quarterly financial reporting happens at the meeting after a quarter closes, and we do it only once a quarter. So the next time that we are able to vote will be the meeting in April. We're not able to vote on what we spent in March on March 2nd. And we're not required to report monthly, just quarterly. So I would anticipate the best practice will be if we approve the report every April, July, October, and January. In this case, best practice did not happen, but I think that is what this commission and I hope all commissions are aiming for. But that is when you can expect this to happen.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'm still thrown off by the quarterly breakdown because right now I am in Q1 of a different fiscal calendar. So thank you. Are there any further comments or questions?
No, let's just really thank Commissioner Lakatos, also Secretary Jones, Chair Harris, Co-Chair Handerhan. You guys have been great. There's been a lot going on, and we're handling it I think this is one of the best transparency and communication we've all had as a team. And I'm glad we were able to get this business done. And it's only 6:24. So thank you all of you for everything you're doing. It's appreciated.
So with that, I adjourn this meeting at 6:24 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.